forget the current crop, the lackluster Democrats running. The person leading the latest New Hampshire poll isn't even on the ballot. That survey suggests that if Michelle Obama were to enter the race, she'd be the front runner. She's walloping the competition with 26% support, but the former First Lady has repeatedly resisted the flood of calls to get in. So what does that say about the 2020 field, Dana?
That they're going to have to fight it out amongst themselves and try to win on the merits. Michelle Obama is never running for office,
never
period.
Happening.
But there was this other story that came out today. It said that Mike Bloomberg is thinking about getting back in the race because, remember, he said he would not get in the race if Joe Biden was going to run. Now, he apparently might be thinking that Joe Biden is in free fall, so maybe he's going to get back in the race. Though I also heard that's not true.
What do you think? Juan, what does that tell you about Joe, that all these other, high-profile Democrat candidates are kind of waiting in the wings? We heard Hillary last week. People were talking about her.
Yeah.
What does that say to you?
I don't think it's as much about the field. In fact, I read somewhere that people were talking about whether President Obama could run again. And what is the law? And I thought, this is nuts. I mean, to me, this says nothing about the field. As Dana said, she's not running. She's a cultural figure, Jesse. She's not Beyonce, but she's getting close, right?
She's up there.
Yeah, because as I said, I'm repeating something I said earlier, which is she went on her book tour and she filled arenas. They were sold out arenas.
Who does that sound like?
No, he wishes. He wishes.
Oh,
he
stop
does.
it, Juan.
Yeah.
He could put more people in seats.
But I think, the larger issue is that people are still coming to some conclusion. You see this in the polls, not just in New Hampshire, but nationally, that people will shift between, my first choice, my second choice, I'm not sure. The big beneficiary so far is Elizabeth Warren, who's been taking support away from Pete Buttigieg, Kamala Harris, and Bernie Sanders.
Well, I still think it speaks to the weakness of Joe Biden.
Yes, in part, and I think it speaks to the weakness of Democrats in general. Here's why. Because it's the grass is greener on the other side. And we saw this in 2016 when they were pining after Joe Biden because they felt that he, at that time, better represented the Obama era. He wasn't getting beaten up in the primary.
Or Warren, too. They were looking at Liz.
Exactly. And so I think it's just, no matter what cycle it is, they're always going to be pining for whoever's not there.
Correct?
They're wishful for Michelle. I call that mishful thinking.
Very good.
Thank you. You like that?
I like how you had to look down.
I had to look down. I go, I can't remember what I had said because I almost have nothing to say because we've all said this, is that there's a terminal lack of excitement about the big names. Meanwhile, the most genuine people you're not hearing about. To me, Marianne Williamson is the most genuine person up there. But she's like, I think Yang lost his bang. She's the real thang.
Greg, you're
and the question is, will they go after... Dang. If they go after Joe, I think it might at this point feel like picking on Gramps.
You think?
Yeah, I think they might just let him wander off into the sunset.
Is anyone going to be brave enough tonight?
I don't know. Maybe maybe Hunter could run.
To launch an
He's
attack
very
on him.
qualified.
So the big debate tonight, obviously, they're going to be asking about Hunter, and they're going to be asking about Bernie's attack against Liz Warren for supporting capitalism. How do you see things shaking out?
Yeah, so Bernie says he is going to take her on, right? He wants to say, I am not a capitalist, and they're going to have a big fight about capitalism. That'll be really great for the Democrats in the general election. Here's one thing I would say about Biden, though. If he were to be able to get through this primary process and become the nominee, it's much better to have had to deal with the Hunter situation in the primary than in the general election, because by then it'll be baked into the cake.
The cake, well done.
Sorry.
At the end of the day, unpack it.
You guys are full of analogies over here. You guys have to step it up.
Those were
over here on this
cliches.
side, all right? Cliches, you're full of it. Okay, let's put it that way.